In 1965, the Cleveland Browns are the target of every other team in the National Football League. This is their year to defend the title. The year begins in the July heat of Hiram, Ohio. For the next 6 weeks, these 80 men will exist in an isolated world where football is a way of life. This is the Browns training camp. Officially, no one is on the team until the season begins. Now, all they get is room and board. A third of them will never get a paycheck from the Browns. They'll be cut from the squad.
So we can get the pass off.
Blanton Collier is the Browns' head coach. He's never played pro ball, but after 37 years of coaching, he's an outstanding teacher. The average pro coach makes $25,000 a year. But Blanton Collier has won a championship, and so he makes more, and his job is secure, as long as he produces a winning team. Art Modell could never play for the Cleveland Browns, so he did the next best thing. He bought them. In 1961, he invested a borrowed $4 million. Today, his investment is worth $10 million, and it's not for sale.
There's no rah-rah in professional football. It's a cold, hard, commercial game. Only thing he said to the team before our championship game against Baltimore on December 27th, he said, you know what has to be done, let's try to do it. That was the end of what would commonly be known as a pep talk. We don't have that in pro football. The average player is sophisticated, mature, adult businessman. 99.9% of all our players throughout the entire National Football League are college graduates, unlike other major sports. They know they've got a job to do, and if they don't do it, they don't stay very long.
What you have in your mind controls what you do with your feet. If you're going to try to get me back here, and you'll step in this direction, you're going to try to cut me off over here. You see? Now, you got to come down the line of scrimmage. As you do, I think your feet will take care of themselves. Basically, in your mind, you have to know the general progression, and I'm given an area of responsibility. And I'm going to protect that area of responsibility against anyone who comes in there, whether it be blocker or ball carrier. I'm going to whip anyone that comes in my area. I don't care who he is.
These are the defensive linemen. Average weight, over 250 pounds. They are drilled in the fine art of violence. The elements of their game are guts, desire, and a total disregard for their own safety. Rookie Don Thiessen may lack the know-how of a veteran lineman, but he doesn't lack the desire.
I told Coach Excoric that I'll just forget about my life when I go in there. I'm not going to worry about it, what happens to me. It's just going to be a destroy type of deal. It's either me or him. That's the way it's going to be.
When he started, no one thought Frank Ryan would last as a pro quarterback. During 4 years with the Los Angeles Rams, he alternated between being blitzed and sitting on the bench. In 1962, he was traded to the Browns. A quarterback develops with time, some in 3 or 4 years, some longer, some never. Perhaps over the years, out of the accumulated experience will come the most elusive quality of all, leadership. It took Frank Ryan a long time, but in 1965, he has it all. The Browns players represent an annual investment of $750,000. It's an investment protected by Leo Murphy, their trainer. In his 16 years with the team, he's seen careers end on this table. Throughout the league, every player is taped before a scrimmage or a game for his own protection. If a man fails to have his ankles taped, he's automatically fined $250. There isn't much glamour in pro football for Leo Murphy. But he does hold one record. In one season, he used 63 miles of adhesive tape.
Okay, that ought to do it. See how that feels.
In a way, Lou Groza's record is even more unique. In 20 years, he's made only one touchdown. But he scored more points than anyone in the history of the game. Like every man in football, Groza is a specialist. But his specialty is narrower than most, and he's excelled at it longer. He's been the Browns' kicker since the team was founded, and it's never occurred to him that a 41-year-old man shouldn't be playing football. In 14 training camps, more than 200 men will fight the highest honor in the game, the chance to carry the ball. All will be measured against one man, Jim Brown, the finest runner in the game. In his 8-year career, he's gained more ground and scored more touchdowns than anyone who has ever played. Today, the only records he breaks are his own. To beat the Browns, this is the man who must be stopped.
I think I'd be playing football somewhere if I never got paid for it. To be in tremendous condition, to be out there and have that great physical feeling is something that I wouldn't want to miss, and you never think of payday out there. I don't think a guy who doesn't love the game will be out there very long. We have a term we use, a cup of coffee. A guy who doesn't love the game might come up for a year or two for a cup of coffee, and then he disappears from the scene.
St. Mary's College lies in a peaceful valley in Northern California. In summer, it's a secluded retreat for the Sisters of St. Joseph and the Sisters of Mercy. In mid-July, St. Mary's is invaded by men of another calling. It's the training camp of the San Francisco 49ers. A year ago, they finished last in the Western Division. Now they begin a crusade for victory. They'll launch it against the Cleveland Browns. Between these two teams is a rivalry dating back 20 years.
That's tremendous. Team wouldn't make an inch around us with that type of play.
Head coach Jack Christensen knows that an upset over the Browns can create the impetus his team needs.
Hit! There we go. Hit! Hit! Slow, back snap and leg snap. Hit! Hit! Good, good. Hit! Right! Left! 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 Right! Left!
Bill Johnson is the offensive coach and the 49ers' biggest fan. He started with his team as a rookie, and he's never left. Over a long career, he's developed a fierce loyalty and an intense pride in the 49ers. Now, 2 disastrous seasons have become, for him, a personal insult. This year, Bill Johnson is dedicated to building a winning team. His determination is the spirit of the 49ers.
That's why you got those pads on there.
For any team, the one man essential to victory is the quarterback. John Brody, an 8-year veteran, has never quite fulfilled his promise. The number 2 quarterback is George Myra. Beginning his 2nd year, He has less than 2 hours of professional experience.
So we run our legs here quicker.
This year, they're drilled by a special part-time coach, Y.A. Tittle. Retired as a player, he's a wealthy man with a prosperous insurance business. But his first love is football, and the memories of 18 years still intrude into his consciousness.
All right, that's fine. But I was just saying, here's what we got to do. We've got to use aggressive block on it because we can't get it out there and get back deep enough. And then if you stay up short, the linemen are going to be surrounding you, and you're going to be uncomfortable with all those guys around you. Give him plenty of room back here now. He's got to get out of here.
For 10 years, Y.A. Tittle is the star quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. But in 1960, at the age of 34, he's considered too old for the game. Traded to the New York Giants for an obscure guard, he defies time for 3 more years. He leads the Giants to 2 divisional championships. Age doesn't come gracefully in pro football. It finally catches Tittle late on a Sunday afternoon. After 17 years of brilliance, his final season is a bitter disappointment.
You got to get out of there. And once you hit 7 yards, stop. Then the play acting is over. You got to get out of there, and you got to move. These guys are coming. There's nobody on them. After they check and bump them, then you got to run, and I mean run. Go! 9:30. Any questions at all? All right, we had a good workout. We had some good things on offense and good things on defense. We're coming along good, so let's keep it up. All right.
A 49er consumes, among other things, 2.5 pounds of meat a day, 1.5 quarts of milk, 2 potatoes, a pint of ice cream, and half a loaf of bread. Over 6,000 calories. Nuns, on the other hand, eat less.
And of course, the off guard, we want you inside and cut this man.
A long day on the practice field is over. But there's another side to pro football. It's a game in which 11 men must function as a precision machine. Each player must know his assignment for 100 or more offensive plays. The most valuable piece of equipment is the playbook. If it's lost, the fine may be as high as $300.
This is the same identical block as you make when you're on the onside on a ram play. And it's going to work out real good for us.
There's no easy way to master this game. Each man must know the plays, the codes, and the signals. And the game has a language all its own.
Now, the off guard, who is the key on this particular play, on the 30 blunt, hit him with a head inside, whereas over here, you hit him inside, but you hit him low in an attempt to cut him. Get yourself, when this play is called, get yourself a good split and go into the man and turn him. Don't release him back behind the line of scrimmage. Make him go around the block.
At the end of summer, there's a quiet optimism at St. Mary's. The 49ers are ready for the invasion of the Cleveland Browns. The quiet of a San Francisco Sunday will end here at Kezar Stadium. 100 yards of green lawn will become a stage for the classic drama that is pro football. It'll be a comedy or a tragedy, depending upon the players. This morning, only one thing is certain. The crowd that arrives in a few hours will go home weighing about 53,000 pounds more. The result of having consumed 4 miles of hot dogs and 4,500 gallons of beer. For the Cleveland Browns, there's just a 45-minute bus ride from a motel. The last few minutes of quiet before the battle. Once in San Francisco, only the college men, the alumni of Stanford and Cal, talked about their teams. Now the 49ers have an alumni of their own, the people of San Francisco.
You get it, baby.
The 49ers will play this game without their first-string quarterback, John Brody.
Doctor said I had something wrong with my sacroiliac. I really don't know. He said he's not positive yet either. I can't feel anything, with my back. When I reach back there, it's just, I can't bend over.
Kick off. The long prelude is over. Blanton Collier, the Browns head coach, will start the game with last year's championship team almost unchanged. In his 2 years as 49er head coach, Jack Christensen has built a powerful defensive team. Bill Johnson's offensive unit has been the 49ers' weakness. But now with new backfield men and weeks of hard training, Johnson is convinced he can win.
3, 4, 2.
Come on, John! Come on, John! Come on, John!
Today, the 49ers will be beaten. This is the story of one game and how it was lost. Plagued by his own inexperience, 49er quarterback George Myra calls a cautious, conservative game. He'll try to keep the ball on the ground, but his runners can't break loose.
All right, now, let's don't forget that thing looked like me.
No, he was good. We ran to get him good.
84!
Early in the first quarter, Cleveland begins a confident, slashing drive into San Francisco territory. The Browns are veterans. Men who have played together until they think and act as one. Frank Ryan is a gambler. He'll try to break the game wide open from the start. The Browns establish their running game. Jimmy Brown keeps the 49ers honest. 2 or 3 men must key on Brown, and the San Francisco pass defense is weakened. Throughout the afternoon, the Browns will control the game on the ground, but they'll score with a long pass.
Touchdown.
As the Browns discover 49er weaknesses, they'll vary their attack, forcing San Francisco to abandon its planned strategy. Touchdowns behind. The 49ers must play catch-up football. They take to the air behind an inexperienced line. Myra is rushed. His receivers are covered.
God, listen. Come on, gang, what you say?
Hoping for a series of ground-gaining passes, the 49ers make only isolated completions. Not enough for a needed momentum.
We'll stay with the same thing we're going at. We'll be all right. Got plenty of time.
In pro football, the defense does more than meet an attack. It must wage a continuous counteroffensive. Jim Johnson, the 49er defensive back, can reverse the course of a game with one sprint. As the half ends, the effect of the 49ers' lone touchdown is erased by second-string quarterback Jim Ninowski. For one brief interlude, the tension and violence of the afternoon are broken. To play football, the coach once said, a man must have the killer instinct. These are aggressive, emotional men who spend all afternoon hitting and being hit. An afternoon of playing war. A runner like Leroy Kelly absorbs a day-long beating for those rare moments when he breaks away. Those few seconds when it's his game alone, when he cannot be stopped. For the runner, there's a personal reward that has nothing to do with the score or a paycheck. And for the runner, there are moments of personal despair. Leroy Kelly fumbles. And now the glory is seized by the 49ers' Kermit Alexander. One break can ignite a team. There's 1 quarter left. There's still hope.
And then, Lynn, when you go by this guy,
Give him a shoulder.
give him a boost, just a boost,
Yeah.
to see him slip by and see him.
Continue on.
And
Okay.
then continue.
The measure of a pro team is endurance. The ability to pound away at the defense all afternoon. Because a game is won at the line of scrimmage, 1 down at a time, yard by yard. In the pro game, a hole in the line is only a split second when a lineman may be off balance. Sometimes there's not even that, and the runner must find his own opening. The strength of the Browns lies in their depth, in a second team that rivals the first. Jim Nanowski would be a starting quarterback on many other clubs. And Cliff McNeil, only a second-string flanker, is one of the fastest runners in the league. In the game's final minutes, the idea of defeat has set in. It's an idea that Bill Johnson can't accept.
Looks like we need another fumble.
By the 4th quarter, fatigue and exhaustion are part of the game. But the pro ignores time clocks and discouragement. The 49ers still fight for a cause that cannot be won. Their drive begins too late. The San Francisco offense will score only this once. Seconds, no time to win. Only a blind determination drives the 49ers toward a last futile gesture. 'Football is a game that is played and won by teams. But defeat is a personal thing. This was one Sunday in pro football. A single page in a story that began centuries ago. A story written by men who have found in a sport a demanding measure for their own courage and ability.
Stay with it, man. Come back with it. Come back with it. Get out, get out. Howard, stop. You had an excellent start. Excellent start, and you lost your feet.
What is your purpose? To keep this guy to the outside. So come at the same angle right in here and kick the guy on out.
Defeat is for one afternoon, an afternoon that's passed. It was just one battle in a campaign. This is a new week, and there's only one game that matters now, the one you play next Sunday. And this time, you know you'll win.
What are you doing kicking the linebacker out there? Your head's inside, you turn right out there on him. Run it again, run it again.
Take him on, Gary, take him in.
Come on, Gary.
Go ahead, stick it out.
Forward.
Even.
Set. Stand. 25. Go. Get him in. All right.
Go hard, go hard.
Here we go.
All right, run it again.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Did you realize where you were last time? Why were you? All right, let's go. Grab your jersey, Mike. Grab your jersey. Lot of step. Lot of step. Stay up on him. Stay up on him. Turn those heads. Turn those heads. Good. That's good, Mike.
And on the inside eye, or 6 feet, right? They're going to run 25 trap from a 5-foot split. They're going to run 21 ram. And that's it.